Hook it up. Soldering. I know a lot of y'all don't like it because some of you get your batteries from me, and I make you dance and beg for me to put the connectors on them you want because you don't want to solder. I'm just being mean, and you know I'm just being mean because I don't charge you for it other than to make you pay for the stuff. But it's really nothing to be scared of. Like anything else, you have to have the right tool, and you got to prep. And they tell you always tin your wires first. Well, there's two reasons for that. And the biggest reason is so that you can trim it to fit without all them little bitty pieces and trying to twist it and all that crap. Just tin the damn thing first, and then you can cut on it and snip on it like you want, and it'll forgive you for being a moron. And I know it will, because it forgave me when I was a moron, or maroon as Bugs puts it. You see, that fits all the way to the bottom of that, so I've actually got enough slack to where I can take just a little piece off of that, just a tip. That way it sits in there nice and tight. Just a finger pressure pushing it in. Here we go. That's what we want. Now, two things to consider when you're soldering. Don't just go to Home Depot and grab some solder, because if you pick up some plumbing solder, by the time you plug them batteries in 4 or 5 times and they start looking, the connectors start looking ugly, because you had, first off, you had the wrong solder. Secondly, if you got the wrong flux, that's just as bad as having the wrong solder. Okay, now I'm going to heat this up, and when it gets about right, because the flux, I can see it starting to bubble a little bit, so what I'll do is I just put enough in there to where there's some in there. I just hold it over the edge of it, and when it drops off in there, just give it another little tap like that. You don't want to fill it up, you just want to know that there's some in the bottom of it, because you already tinned that. Okay, so while this is hot, you stick that on there, and you'll feel it when it starts to melt. And when it does, you just leave it alone. Now, it's not done yet. If you try and do this holding it in the first place, you can't hold it up, and you're going to have solder running. Okay, depending on the type of tip and what you got, sometimes you can put it in a predetermined position and work with it, and it's fine. I don't know how much of that you can see, but it's ready now. When I put this next little piece of solder on here, it's going to look the same all the way up to the insulation. I'm just touching it to the tip of the soldering iron. I can see the wire moved a tad, so I know that it's done. And I'm just going to hold it there till I see it run around the wire, because the tip I'm using is tapered. See, and it's up under the insulation. It's running up in that wire because I put enough flux in there for it to run. When that flux melts, it runs up the wire. The chemical compound in it chases heat, so as the heat moves, the flux moves with it. It doesn't just melt over right where it's at. It follows the heat right on up that wire. Matter of fact, the flux more than the soldering iron is why you feel heat up the wire. Now, if you did it right, this is what you end up with. Okay, that's what it looks like. And if you got the right solder and the right flux, it's not going to come loose. Now, the compound I'm using will actually melt, and general tinning can be done at 375 degrees, but because I'm putting it on a brass fitting, gold plated, I got the temperature up to 410, 411, back and forth on that heating and soldering station over there. And that allows for heating up the metal and letting it, helping that flux to run up that wire, so I have a nice long soldered connection versus solder right on. Solder on the tip of what you're working on don't help you. It's just holding itself there until you turn your back, so it can piss you off. And those of you who've had your solder joints come apart while you're having fun, y'all know what I'm talking about. I know you do, so I hope you listen, paying attention, because I ain't mad, because I got mine in line. So here's what I got, and now I'm gonna shrink wrap these and color code them. Okay, where's the shrinky wrappy box? I had one out that I didn't put away, and I had it out the other day. There we go. This one might have some good stuff in it. Oh yeah, here we go. This is good. What's the colors on the motor? That motor, we got a pink, red, pink, yellow, and blue. So that's a. Let's see here. Okay, the green works, and that's not long enough. That's gonna work, and that's a crimp connector. That's gonna work. Let's see if I got a yellow. That one here. Okay, where the other box? All them soldering I did over here, and I did the cardinal sin and not put the box back where it goes. Oh, I did. First drawer. Har har. And the yellows in here are too big. So, and the blues are too big. So we're gonna have to stretch that green one. That's actually not hard. Shrink wrap. Okay, everybody's all cleaned up real good. Got the motor mounted, fan mounted. I don't believe in them wire tie things because they don't seal it to the case. And when you got when you have a heat issue in cooling fans, clamping something to it is good, but if it's a mated surface, it's going to transfer 20-30% more heat. So instead of it just having the wire ties running around the case holding it on, I use commercial grade adhesive tape. It's not the hobby grade thin stuff. This is heavy, and should handle the heat and vibration fine. It's rated to 250, and that seals the edges down and forces all the air to run out of the cooling channels on the other side. Now, I really don't know what I'm going to do with this thing on 8S, as big as it is, but probably going to end up putting some 5th scale desert buggy wheels on it, because you know, like I said, I'm going to decide which one of them I'm going to bash with all the time, and the rest of them going to be street vehicles or sand rails. And I like the idea of making this one a sand rail, because all I got to do to make this into a longer buggy is just make longer rails and replace one drive shaft. Boom, because there's nothing back here that connects to the front with the exception of that drive shaft. So hell, they could be 5 feet long, you know. So it's not rocket science. And so that's that. I'm getting ready to button up the receiver and get it back inside. See here. I can't see a thing without my glasses. before I close all of that up, I'm gonna make sure that here we go. Batche. I'll save the 8S for later. Let me plug a 6 in here. I forgot to check and see if it'll even run on a 4S. Probably will, but just to be sure it's got enough power to act like it wants to. What's missing? Oh, wrong plug. Where is the DIN plug at? Did I bring one over here? I guess I didn't. So I guess I better find one. See here, DIN plug. No DIN plugs over there. So that means I moved them doing all this mess. Oh, there it is. There's one of them anyway. It's crazy, cracked myself up losing stuff, but that's my life. Here we go. So, we'll reverse the motor. Okay, we are good to go. Good to go. 8S, 1600 kV. I took the 12 tooth pinion out and put a 14 in there. So it's got 2 more teeth on the pinion gear and a double pop on the top end, going from 1450 to 1600 and from 6S to 8S. If that motor's got any nuts at all, this thing gonna act a fool. But you know, it doesn't need but so much power, because all I'm gonna do is run up and down the beach. I ain't getting ready to race nobody, and I'm not gonna spend $100 a piece for something, for speed run tires. Oops, sorry about that, guys. For speed run tires. I don't know. I think I better put these boots back on. Here's my hobby. And I don't mean H-O-B-B-Y, I mean H-O-B-B-I-E. Knock on wood. Yep. So, I'm going to go ahead and button up the wiring. And I'll take it out in the morning and give it a throw down the street, see how it runs. Because I'm not so sure about the motor. One of my suppliers made it so cheap I couldn't say no. He all but gave it to me. And so if I don't like it, I'm going to go ahead and get a 50 series. Something with some serious dog nuts, 5th scale. But then again, like I said, I ain't getting ready to race nobody. So I mean, what's it for? Because that 1450 on 6S that was on here, you know, it was plenty fast. So now it's going to be stupid. We're not doing that thing. Yeah, I'm going to put this dog on the shredder. And with that 150 amp ESC that was in there. And that'll take care of that. And still waiting for the stuff for the Cray. Got one more servo to rebuild. The servo rebuild thing worked out okay, so you can buy parts for servo for like 15 bucks instead of spending 40-50 bucks all over again. Just got to be real careful with the O-rings. I'll do a vid on that next week. And if anybody wants to see anything, you know, particularly like solder or something to do with electronics or whatnot, or the photography, the drones, the programming, castles. I think I got 3 or 4 different ESC programming cards. I got a couple hobby wing cards. I got the castle programming software set up. I've got the Nozzleite, Nozzle V2, Wukong A2. I think I got still got A2, or maybe it's on the other laptop. What else I got? I've got Beta Flight. I've got Clean Flight, and 3, 4 others. I don't get into them much, and I need to start reading my magazines. Once I get done doing the pre-flight on all these birds, I'm going to finish this up, because I lost an ESC on this one and I couldn't find a particular one. It's a Shuriken 250 Pro, and I'm going to finish the ESC job on this, because it flies. I took it out, flew it just like it is, and put this back together, get all my birds right, because I've got to do a flight on the 700 in the morning, because I got a client coming to look at it. So I got the 700 to do, the 800, and the 1250 left to do. So I'll be doing pre-flights aside from